Good morning and good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Before Coffee, and welcome to another week. You guys made it. You survived the weekend, and now we're back on the grind. But that's okay. We're going to tell you everything that's happening today and over the weekend in case you missed anything, so you don't have to. You have something to talk about at the water cooler. Hey, did you hear about Turkey or plane crashes? We have it all for you guys. This is Before Coffee, the father and daughter comprehensive news of Planet Earth podcast, where we look up our stories 10 to 15 minutes before we start, and in some cases 30 minutes on a Monday, it seems. Which is partly my fault, and technical difficulties are, but hopefully those are all solved and we're ready to go. We've had our coffee, we've rolled out of bed, we're learning to read these articles and reading these headlines, so let's get into those headlines for today's show. Today on Mucking Fonday, over 1.3 million in France signed petition against return of banned insecticide.
This is Roger, United States. Happy Mucking Fonday. We're going to talk about a near plane crash in the United States and an actual plane crash in Bangladesh, plus a total failure of justice in India.
Turkey's president says his support for a two-state deal on ethically split Cyprus is absolute. Yeah, that worked out really well in Gaza.
And we're going to talk about water. We have flash floods in New Jersey, and China starts building world's largest dam and fueling fears in India.
In my culture news, I went vegan on the second day of filming. James Cromwell on making Babe, the talking pig classic.
And it's National Be Someone Day. Myself, I self-identify as the King of Scotland. My pronouns are His Majesty, Your Excellency, and that jackass. It is July 21st, 2025 on Before Coffee.
The classic. Scotland! For Scotland! I personally believe in Scottish independence, but I know that can be conscientious.
The royal we. We. As in,
you wee little, like wee little?
Wee little? No, I'm just like the royal we. Like,
okay.
Royal is entitled.
We believe in Scottish independence.
We want this. As in we. We. I'm one person, but I get to say we because I'm a king.
Just keep on saying we because you sound like a pig. Perfect for my culture story.
We. This little piggy went to market.
All right, let's roll our segue wheel so we know what to say in between our stories here.
I'm trying to figure out, piggy's eating roast beef. That's kind of like, wow, that pig's eating a cow. That's weird. Anyway.
But pigs are omnivores, so they'll eat anything you put in front of them, really.
Exactly. That's why you keep a pig if you want to get rid of your garbage. Or a goat.
At least it goes somewhere.
Goat.
Your segue reminds me of a song.
You're close. A song. All right.
And our first story is Coming Out of France by Laurent Gesselin on Eurosativ. I think we covered the story last week or the week before, but basically France passed a law that legalized a previously banned insecticide that caused cancer. It was proven to cause cancer, and a bunch of cancer people were like, wow, I'm glad that the carrots can live so I can die. Something like that. So a bunch of people signed a petition against this law that just got passed, which took a long time to even get passed, and now the people are saying, no thank you. The petition targets the Dupe-Lomp law, which reintroduces acetamiprid, banned in 2020 over risks to health and biodiversity. Based on, oh god. I suddenly went French, and I can't read French. Suddenly, no, they tricked me. I was reading the story, and then I reset the page, and then the page was like, you can't read this unless you sign up for our website. Let me just look it up somewhere else. Yeah, here we go. This is on the Straits Times. I'm just going to read a random article now because I have to just, if I can even load this page, oh my god. Okay, the page isn't loading. Wow. Maybe this one. Maybe this article will let me read it. Am I allowed to read this? Am I allowed to read this one?
Maybe. Just fill
Literally,
in the
it
blanks
says nothing.
with words you think that.
I accept your cookies. Okay. Is this just one of those weird, it's only a movie, it's only a video? Okay. Reuters. Maybe Reuters will let me read the story. Okay,
yeah,
I like it. Oh, God, nope.
What?
Another subscriber. This story about the insecticide is like
Reuters has
news.
a little thing you can click at the bottom. It says, I don't want your cookies.
No. It's you have to subscribe now to read this article. That's what I'm being hit with right now.
Really? I just
want to read this. You're gonna have to subscribe. What I'm currently dealing with.
Well, what's the story so I can remind me of the song anyway?
Well, I already said what the story is. You're not. If you're not listening, I don't know what to tell you.
It's not reminding me of a song yet. I want some details.
I'm just looking for any of these that will let me actually read the article because I thought I could read the article.
You know, if you click on Reuters and that thing plops up, there's a little thing at the bottom you can click on it.
I've already told you it's not the cookies. It's the you have to subscribe to read this. That's what I'm. Okay, this is on Liberation by Paul Quinio. 1 million signatures against the Duplum Law, a solitary citizen surge. In addition to being a strong initiative, the text, which says no to anti-temperate, forces debate on the contradictions of our economic and agricultural models. That's exactly what you're saying when we previously talked about this. Should we continue killing ourselves for that mad cash? No. That's my answer anyways. I've already answered that for you. You're welcome. Unprecedented since 2019 and the introduction in the National Assembly Rules of Procedure of a platform that can accommodate citizen petitions, having collected more than 100,000 signatures, the threshold of 500,000 petitioners, which opens the possibility of a parliamentary debate, had never been reached. And then less than 2 weeks after the adoption of the so-called Duplum Law, aimed at removing constraints on practicing farming, the counter continued to race at a frantic pace. The million people who added their names to say no to anti-temperate were reached last Sunday, or this Sunday, shortly before 6 p.m. Or Sunday was the 20th of July. In the middle of the summer, the citizen mobilization against this pesticide, whose use has been reauthorized by law despite its severe impacts on biodiversity and its potential danger to humans' health, is good news. It dramatically contradicts the feeling of citizen disengagement and disinterest in politics. Yeah, people are saying, the French people won't care. We're just going to pass this law. This is why it's really important to actually act. Just even voting on a petition, right, is really important because it shows the government, oh shit, people actually care about this. Whoops, we thought we could just get away with a cancerous pesticide just being sprayed all over France.
Oppression works.
Nobody
Don't you understand we're making money off this?
Yeah, somebody is making money. Probably the people who sell the pesticide.
Don't you understand? You're trying to kill wealth. You're trying to destroy capitalism.
Yeah. A new participatory democratic tool exists, and citizens are seizing it. Clap, clap. Only those who prefer to turn a blind eye to the gangrene of democratic decline will complain. Let's recall in passing that the Duplum Law was adopted without real debate, after a motion of rejection was voted on by the text supporters. A parliamentary subtlety that thus returns to the figure of the relative Macronist majority with a motion of rejection of another kind, the petition. There's another reason to welcome this citizen mobilization. It brings to the table in what way the complicated debates related to the ecological transition, which a Duplum Law preferred to sweep under the carpet. The LR senator's text is a character example of move on, there's nothing to see or change in our agricultural model. It's perfect. Our pollution is just right. Economic lobbies, particularly agri-food lobbies, quote, corporations that make money off of farms, they don't do the farming, okay? Just making that clear for everyone. These are corporations that sell the broccoli. And they take your broccoli, sell it for way too much money, and then pocket all the cash. These are the people who are lobbying to basically say, France's agricultural model doesn't need to be changed. It's perfect and it's not dangerous. They thought they could carry on their influence as normal, as usual. It failed. And the opposition they face is not only activists, political, union, or associative. Scientists, lawyers, teachers, and students are getting involved. In fact, this petition establishes the idea that a backlash to the ecological backlash is possible. It is salutary in the sense that it forces a debate, a confrontation with the contradictions of the economic and agricultural model, and the argument in favor of the dual law based on the distortion of competition with certain European countries, which penalizes French farmers. While it cannot be dismissed out of hand, it cannot be used as a bludgeon to disqualify all the others. What about the farmers? It's just like when they pass laws and they're like, think about the children. And all the children are like, actually, I was fine with it. I don't have a problem with trans people at all. But the children don't know any better. I mean, as usual, you only get taught hate.
Every country in the world should be looking at rooftop gardens, right? In all the cities. Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
No, that's the end of the story, really. It was shorter than I thought because I had to open a different article. But
understood.
It's really good news for the democratic process and the farming. Because I think we talked about this a little bit on last time we talked, but in case nobody was there for that article and you read it, the thing about this law passing is that it was saying not only that, the right, we're here for the farmers, right? That's what the right were saying. We're here to protect farmers. Yeah. See, we're going to let you poison everybody in your vicinity. And
the poor farmers.
I believe Macron, I don't know if Macron was quoted on saying something or if they were just insinuating that because people under Macron, people in his party were supporting it, that Macron was supporting it and saying also, right, if we can make a ton of cash by poisoning our country, it's all worth it. And
that's right.
We're saying that's not the case.
And if people die younger, you don't have to pay a pension, right?
Oh, that's true, right?
Saving all kinds of money everywhere. Right? We got no workers anymore, but hey, what the hell? We'll just keep going somehow.
Yeah.
Let everything rot in the fields because we get no workers, because we don't allow immigration, because we were racist. Anyway, sorry. Got off on a tangent. Reminds me of a song, Big Yellow Taxi by Joni Mitchell.
How's that go?
I think it's the third verse. Third verse. Hey, farmer, farmer, put away the DDT now. I'll take the spots on the apples, but give me the birds and the bees or something like that. Anyway, don't be killing my bees and birds and everything with your insecticides.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that is a really important point you bring, or she brings up, I guess Joni Mitchell brings up, which is that a lot of the pesticides that farmers use are only to make sure that your plants look normal. Nobody's going to buy this weird-shaped carrot. It tastes the same, by the way. Oh, my God.
Yeah, spot on the apple. Yep.
Why is that carrot all weird?
And again, who knows what it's doing to you when you eat it?
Insecticide, and that's why you always want to make sure you clean your fruits and veggies, even if you bought it off a farmer's market. Just because it's a farmer's market doesn't mean they're not spraying all sorts of things all over it.
Yeah, DDT was instrumental in curbing malaria, but it also killed so many birds that it had to be banned. At least in the United States, a lot of places still use it, right? And especially they got a lot of mosquitoes. But it's toxic. It's toxic. All right. And don't it always seem to go, you don't know what you got till it's gone.
And sometimes you gain stuff when it's gone.
They paid paradise, put up a parking lot. Okay, spin the wheel. I got 3 stories.
I'm going to write you a haiku, or I guess I'm going to write you 3 haikus.
You can write 2. The first 2 stories are related. They're both related to plane crashes. One, a real plane crash, and one that was narrowly averted. This first one's from the BBC.com. Bangladesh crash, at least 19 dead after Air Force jet crashes into a school.
Oh, God.
So I'm thinking, my thing about jets crashing, did the pilot not know how to eject? Right? Or was he trying to fight it all the way to the ground to keep it from crashing into a school?
Maybe he passed out when he got to 10 Gs and then he just passed out and drove his stick to the ground. They'll tell us in the story, right? Or maybe they won't.
Dead men tell no tales, unfortunately, because he didn't live. Plane crash witnesses. I heard an explosion. Did I say the BBC? BBC.com. Shanoaj Raki and Makimul Hassan. At least 90 people have died and 164 were injured. A Bangladeshi Air Force training jet crashed to a school campus in the capital, Dhaka. Training is problem. Probably a very inexperienced pilot, right? Footage of the Milestone School and College in northern suburb of Uttara shows a huge fire and thick smoke after aircraft slammed into a two-story building. They put an E in story in this one. It's got to be British. British writing.
They're Indian, so...
The armed forces... Yeah, they
probably used the English spellings, not the American spelling.
It's the BBC.com. The armed forces said in a statement on Facebook that the F-7 jet experienced a mechanical fault after taking off for a training exercise just after 1300 local time or 0700 Greenwich time. The pilot was among those killed, the Air Force added. More than 50 people, including children and adults, were taken to the hospital with burns. A doctor in the National Institute of Burn and Plastic Surgery said. The age range for students attending schools between 4 and 18, so it's a school for everybody. A teacher at the college, Razal Aslam, told BBC Bangla that he saw the plane directly hit the building. Man, this sounds like it was planned. To me, I mean, a pilot can eject, right? If he's in trouble, and the plane goes off and crashes.
Oh, you
somewhere.
think somebody was training to be a pilot and decided to crash into a school like a terrorist attack? Is that what you're going for here?
Maybe, I don't know. It just seems like, I mean, it's directly into a school. It's a hell of a mechanical malfunction. Yeah, I'm just
you want someone to blame because it's such a travesty, right? It's such a travesty. You need a reason to blame somebody for something.
Absolutely. Pilots are taught to eject.
If it's just all an accident,
anyway,
you can't blame anything, right? It's just an accident. That's what it is.
It's highly suspicious, is what I'm saying. When I look back, I saw only fire and smoke. There are many guardians and kids here. Students said he saw the plane hit the building right in front of my eyes. The pilot, Flight Lieutenant M.D. Thakur Islam, had tried to navigate the jets for a less than populated area after the mechanical fault. The armed forces statement said he only just taken off from Air Force Base at the capital. He tried to navigate to a less. It must have been just no way to control it or no way to. He should have ejected. I'm sure maybe he was trying to save lives, but unfortunately didn't. Maybe. Terrible. Terrible. Anyway, there's your terrible news. The leader of the Bangladesh interim government said necessary measures will be taken to investigate the cause of the incident and ensure all kinds of assistance. The moment of deep sorrow for the nation, in which the injured and speedy recovery, instruct all authorities, including the hospitals concerned, to deal with the situation with utmost importance, he said in a social media post. Bangladesh announced the day of mourning on Tuesday when the national flag will be flown at half-mast across the country. There's your story. Do you want to combine them, or...
I have a haiku already.
Plain flying story.
I also wanted to add they probably have to access the black box. The black box will say exactly what happened, at least if it's a mechanical failure, right? If it was a premeditated decision, you can't really ask anybody. But if the black box is like, wow, he tilted his stick all the way down and nosedives, that's pretty bizarre.
I'm saying most pilots would have rejected. That's all.
Jets, fierce descent, silent shadow quake the earth, dreams are torn apart. Your sad haiku.
Man. Haiku time. All right. What's today? 21st? All right, let's do that later. Okay. In other air travels news, this one didn't end in a death, but it was close. StarTribune.com has a story. Tim Harlow, Delta plane leaving Minneapolis avoids near collision with B-52 bomber.
Oh no! A
Delta connection. Yeah, this was.
If I remember correctly, the B-52 is a stealth bomber. Actually.
No, B-52 is not a stealth bomber. B-52 is an old plane that flies with propellers and drops many bombs. It can carry so many bombs at once. Yeah, it's not even new technology whatsoever. I'm sure they got new technology in it, but the original B-52 is very old. like post-World War II. The pilot of Delta Airlines flight attempting to land at the airport of Minot, North Dakota on Friday was forced to make an aggressive maneuver, avoid colliding with a B-52 bomber. Delta Connection Flight 3788 departing from Minneapolis and operated by SkyWest Airlines was on approach when the near miss happened, according to a statement from SkyWest. The pilot performed a go-around when another aircraft became visible in their flight path.
Oh, no.
Yeah, because air traffic control is operating below what their normally capacity is, and they haven't cut the number of flights. So what you're going to have? You're going to have more incidents like this. This is basically the same thing that happened in D.C. earlier this year, except the pilot couldn't adjust, and he hit a helicopter. The pilot performed a go-around, another aircraft being visible in the flight path. We are investigating the incident, a SkyWest statement said. Passenger Monica Green was on board the flight, which had taken off from Minneapolis-St. Paul International Airport about 6:20 p.m. and was getting ready to land at Minot, which is in North Dakota, after 8 p.m. The jet made an abrupt turn a few miles from the Minot airport, according to the flight tracking website, FlightAware.com. I was landing in Minot, North Dakota today, and our plane nearly missed another plane, Green wrote on Facebook. Absolutely terrifying to think about. Green also posted a video that recorded a message the pilot made to the passengers after landing safely. The video was subsequently shared on TikTok, where it has gone viral. For those of you on the right side, you probably saw the aircraft kinda sorta coming at us, the pilot begins. Nobody told us about it, so we continued. The pilot said he originally thought the other aircraft might have been a small plane. The air traffic control tower told the pilot to turn right and turn left. By then, the pilot realized the other aircraft was a military B-52 bomber on a converging course with us. At that point, the pilot decided the safest thing to do was to turn behind it. Sorry about all the aggressive maneuver, the pilot told passengers. It's not normal at all. I don't know why they didn't tell us about it. It was not fun. I do apologize for it. Thank you for understanding. Not a fun day at work. The video ends with the passengers applauding. Where's your applause? I don't know. Anyway. The pilot said the tower on the Minot...
Cue up. You have to tell me to cue it up. I don't know. There you go. That's probably what it sounded like.
That's what it sounded like when he made his announcement, patting himself in the back. Everybody cheered him. The pilot said the tower on Minot does not... You're lucky I'm the best pilot in the world. Yeah. Hooray. Anyway, the pilot said the tower in Minot does not have radar.
What?
Baffling to me.
Is that
Controllers rely on visual.
Minot
probably has 12 people. I don't know. Minot is one of them places when you hear the weather temperatures in the wintertime, like the middle of February. And the nation's low today was recorded in Minot, North Dakota, minus 75. That's where Minot is. All right, it's in the middle of freaking nowhere. Probably has 75 people, right? I don't know. It's probably bigger than that, but the only reason I've ever heard of it is because of it. One, there's an Air Force base there that accidentally dropped there's an Air Force base in Minot that a long time ago I think they accidentally dropped a nuclear atomic bomb in Louisiana. Like, it didn't explode, but they did. Anyway, there's an Air Force base there, and there's a town. And there probably wouldn't be a town without the Air Force base. So that's basically it. Anyway, the pilot said the tower in Minot does not have radar, and controllers rely on visuals to direct aircraft. The nearby Air Force base, which does have radar, probably could have called them up and said, hey, we're putting our B-52 in your airspace.
I hope there weren't any bombs on it. Which had the pilot asking, hey, there's also a B-52 in the pattern. Dumbasses. Well, the Department of Defense referred inquiries to the Federal Aviation Administration for Airspace Control matter. The FAA's, it's the FAA's fault. They don't have radar over at the airport. It's you guys at the Air Force Base. You guys, wake the fuck up. Anyway, there's your story. Wow. And for, a reminder for anybody who doesn't know about Roger's history, but he worked at an Air Force Base. He wasn't in the Air Force, but you worked on an Air Force base.
I worked at about 100 Air Force bases.
Yeah,
I didn't work at an Air Force base. I worked at a naval base.
And you're a radio guy, so you know how radar works, you know how GPS works, you know how...
All right. But Air Force bases, I've been to dozens of them for work, but I've never actually physically been stationed at one. No.
Yeah.
This is a naval air station here.
Yeah.
It's not Air Force.
Oh, okay. I thought
And
it was.
El Paso.
Well, the point
Army
is,
base.
it's an air base. There's planes all over the
I
place.
worked at an Army air station.
Yeah.
El Paso worked at an Army air station. Oh yeah. Okay.
My haiku is Metal
United
Wings
States has 5
Whisper.
airports for some reason.
Metal
Okay, go
Wings
ahead.
Whisper. Climbing through clouds silently. Danger lurks nearby. But keep your eyes posted on the sky. Well, I guess I don't have to. I'm in Europe. I think our radar still
I
works.
gotta give you some applause. There you go. Oh, sorry. Have accident.
And you have one more story, right? Or is that...
Yes, I do. I have one more story, and then I'll get back to my notes. I forgot I had one more story, and we're going to go back towards Bangladesh way, and we're
Also,
going to
hello,
end up
Tiki. Welcome to the father and daughter podcast. We're covering all the news that we found.
We're going to go back towards Bangladesh way and end up in India, where we're going to talk about a total failure of justice as all. This is about transportation too. Is all convicted of Mumbai train blasts are acquitted. This is from the Times, the London Times, I believe. Amrit D8 Dehillen of thetimes.com. When bomb blasts ripped through carriages of a packed commuter train, the 2 stations during Mumbai's evening rush hour on July 11, 2006, India's Prime Minister vowed to defeat the terrorists and secure justice for the victims. But 19 years on from the carnage of the attacks, which left 189 dead and more 800 injured, justice remains elusive. On Monday, 12 Muslim men who were convicted of planting the bombs were acquitted after a prosecution case against them was found to be based on forced confessions and unreliable evidence. Suspects who were accused of being Pakistani separatists were convicted in 2015 for one of India's worst terror attacks. Five of the men were sentenced to death, while the other 7 were given life imprisonment pending on appeal.
Sounds like a bunch of people who are just set up as the fall guys to me. Oh, we hate Muslims. Let's put them up there. Everyone will believe they did it.
It's hard to tell because they forced confessions, right?
Exactly.
They could be totally guilty.
You don't know anymore.
And probably are. I'm going to go ahead and say, hey, they're probably guilty. But again, I can't fucking tell because, hey, you'll confess to anything when being tortured. A decade from the conviction, judges at the Bombay High Court found the prosecution utterly failed to prove their case against the accused. Oh, wait, they're brown. They must have did it. It's hard to believe. Wait a minute, everybody in India is brown. This makes no sense. Anyway, it's hard to believe that the
different
accused
religion. That's the thing in India.
Yeah, that's right.
Religion.
Oh my God, there's Muslims. They believe in a different invisible man. So there's your xenophobia right there. My God, how can they believe in that invisible man? Don't they know? That's the wrong invisible man. Silly people with their silly religions. Can't believe it. They must be behind this. Anyway, they're probably compromised at some point. Doesn't mean they're guilty. A decade on. Let's see. It's hard to believe that the accused committed the crime. Hence, their conviction is quashed and set aside. Justices Anil Kilor and Shyam Chandak said the men were ordered to be released from jail if they're not required to be detained in any other case. Yeah, if you got something against them, let's see the evidence that wasn't coerced. During the 2006 attack, 7 bombs placed inside pressure cookers to maximize their intensity to blast went off with minutes of each other, causing horrific casualties. Well, somebody did it, right? Now, hopefully they catch the people that did it. I don't know. 20 years later now? Where's the evidence now? What happened to it? One surgeon described his hospital in the aftermath of the attacks as bloodier than an abattoir. And then a report published in the front page of the Times the next day. Abattoir, for those who don't know, is a slaughterhouse. Prosecutors said the devices were assembled in Mumbai and deliberately placed in the first-class coaches to target the city's wealthy Gujarati community. Oh, so they were placed in first class to kill rich people, which, I mean, that seems more of a anarchist type thing than a terrorist thing. Wouldn't terrorists just
Well,
indiscriminately
it's still terrorism.
not
It's still
when they bomb?
terrorism, even if they're anarchists. The reasoning for being terrorist is different than expected.
But that betrays a motive, does it not? If you're just placing them in the first class cabins, you're not saying, hey, we're trying to get the poor people on our side. Of course, it didn't work because terrorism is terrorism. They said bombings were intended as revenge for the riots in the western state of Gujarat in 2002, which left some 2,000 people dead, most of them Muslims. Again, we're fighting about the invisible man. Prosecutors accused the Pakistani
Reminds me of a
military
scene
group of...
from, I don't know if you remember Slumdog Millionaire, but there's a scene when he's young where they're just like they're like doing dishes or cleaning their clothes in a bath, and then the whole place gets raided by Muslims, whatever. Maybe that's
Muslims
a reference to that
government.
event in 2002.
I think it was the opposite.
You think
The Muslims weren't raiding.
you think the Hindis attacked the Muslims and killed a bunch of Muslims? I don't know about this event. I was barely alive in 2002.
Okay, I'll read it again. They said the bombings were intended as a revenge for the riots in the western state of Gujarat in 2002, which left some 2,000 people dead, most of them Muslims. So I don't think the Muslims were the ones causing it. They were the ones that were being attacked. On Monday, the judges spoke witheringly of police failures to prove what kind of bombs were used. Oh, we're not going to investigate anything. We're just going to frickin' arrest people and blame them. Oh, wow. This is police out of control. They just want to shut people up, so they just arrest people that look like they're guilty.
They want to finish the paperwork and just we did it, we fixed it. Yeah, there you go.
The explosives and arms presented as evidence appeared unrelated to the blasts, they said. Eyewitnesses presented by the prosecution were also deemed unreliable, as many of them made statements to the police months after 11 years of the bombing. The judge observed that it was unlikely they would remember the accused after such a long period. Wow. Years after the bombing. Yeah, that was him. The defense has raised serious questions about the test identification parade. Test identification parade? That's an interesting sentence. Many witnesses remained silent for unusually long periods, some over 4 years, and then suddenly identified the accused. This is abnormal, the judges noted. Apparent confessions by the accused, they concluded, were likely to have been obtained through coercion. One of those convicted, Kamal Ansari, died in 2021 from coronavirus while in jail. The remaining 11 have spent 19 years behind bars. I'm sure Kamal's all happy that he got acquitted, huh? Yay! I'm innocent and I'm dead now. Monday's acquittal does not mean saga's over, as the prosecution can appeal against the order of the Supreme Court in Delhi, given that cases move very slowly through India's judicial system and that it took a decade for the convictions to be overturned. The men are likely to remain behind bars for months, if not years. Oh, justice. Aren't we just... I'm sorry, if you're innocent, you should be out of jail. Isn't that the way that works? Oh, no, let's keep them in jail, even though they've been found innocent. Or
they've been acquitted because... Testimony. I mean, this is how criminal law works, right? Is you have to have, like, without... What is the phrase again? Without any doubt. Without any doubt that they committed the crime. And there's too much doubt because they were tortured. There's just too much
without
doubt.
Prejudice. Rebecca Mammon John, a lawyer of the Supreme Court, said the investigation and prosecution did a disservice to both people framed who spent years behind bars to the families of victims who are left without justice. And when you don't have a robust investigation, you have fabricated evidence, you're letting down an entire community of people who deserve better than this, she added. It's a total failure of the justice delivery system. So India's got a problem. This happens in the United States quite frequently. You can go to Sacco and Vanzetti or the Rosenbergs, right? Hysteria rules the jury. Hysteria rules the justice system. Oh, we want vengeance. We want vengeance. We don't care who it's against. Meanwhile, the real perpetrators get away with it. So, whatever. There's your story.
Yeah. It's, I mean, when you're just looking for somebody, easy target to blame on it, I mean... Yep. Did they say if there's any proof those people were even there? Did they just find some... No, they just found some Muslim people who happened to be in the area and said, you did it! Yeah.
They just decided that they're part of a conspiracy because they're part of an organization that wants Pakistani separatists or something. And that's enough. It's like they used to arrest people for being communists. It's not against the law to be a communist in any way, but they arrested them for it. And I'm like, what is going on?
No, it's similar to the Central Park 5, right? None of those boys were guilty.
Yeah.
Of doing the crime.
It's similar in the fact that they wanted a scapegoat. Yeah. They always wanted a scapegoat. Oh, haiku time. Yeah, haiku.
Through pain, truth eludes. Heavy chains can't bind the heart. Guilt blooms in silence. There you go.
All right.
Don't torture
soundboard.
You can't torture your confession out of people. It doesn't work like that.
Torture Wayne. Sorry.
Yeah, torture
your way to democracy. We're going to make everybody safe by torturing people. Yeah, okay. I feel safe now. The government can just drag me out and charge me with something and torture me to confess.
I mean, this is what Guantanamo Bay is too, by the way. Guantanamo Bay was, we think you might commit a crime. Let's throw you away in jail. And also, they were waterboarding people, right? That was the big drama. They were which is torture. No, maybe they're waterboarding people in Afghanistan in the field.
We'll never know because they don't even bother charging those people with crimes. They just lock them up and get.
They don't even write a paper with their name on it for sure.
Again, the Constitution of the United States is just a piece of paper. It doesn't mean anything if you don't use it. Right? It's just a fucking piece of paper, and that's the way it's being treated every day in the United States now. The Constitution is a farce. Anyway, happy day. Let's do the next. Well,
we don't have to be happy. It's Monday. Your next segue is accurate simile and metaphor. We don't have to be happy. We can be very angry if we want. And my next story is coming from, well, I believe it was Turkey, right? Turkey. I lost my story because I had to open 15 pages trying to find the story. Okay. Yes. Okay, so you know how Palestine and Israel, the two-state solution, not working out so well 70 years later? Well, Turkey is deciding Cyprus should also get that treatment, and it's totally going to work out because they have it's an absolute decision is what it says here. Turkey's president says ethnically split Cyprus is absolute. This is by Menelaos Hagikostis on AP News. Coming out of Cyprus, Nicosia. Turkish Cypriots on the 20th of July celebrated Turkey's military invasion of Cyprus that cleaved the island nation along ethnic lines 51 years ago. I love drawing ethnic lines. Why come together as human beings where we can say you're different, you belong over there? That's way easier, isn't it, than saying, hey, you know what, we eat the same food, but we do use different ingredients. Turkey's president reaffirmed his full backing for a controversial peace deal that envisions the establishment of two separate states. His proposal that the majority of Greek Cypriots in the island's internationally recognized southern part reject out of hand. It would formalize Cyprus's partition and give Turkey a permanent foothold they see as a bid for control of the entire strategically situated country and its offshore hydrocarbon wealth. Yeah, let's make money by torturing a bunch of people. I'm sure they're not actually torturing anyone. I hope not. Our support for Turkish Cypriot leader Ersin Tatar's vision for a two-state solution is absolute, Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan said in remarks to a crowd during celebrations that culminated with a military parade. It was scheduled this year for the evening to avoid the worst of the scorching midsummer's heat. It is time for the international community to come to terms with the fact on the ground, Erdogan added, urging the international community to establish diplomatic and economic relations with the breakaway state in Cyprus, northern third, and Turkish Cypriots declared. 3. Just a reminder from my stance on Turkey and Greece is that they are very similar. They share a lot of things together, and the only difference is that one of them is called European and the other ones are called Arabs, and that's... But if you actually look at the history of that region, Greek people were considered Asian back in ancient Greece. They were not. Europe wasn't even a thing, a concept. Europe wasn't even a place on the map. And this is just an example of how, through history, our definitions of places change over time. And at the end of the day, the only thing that hasn't changed is that we all live on the planet Earth. and nobody else has been anywhere else. There's no Martians, there's no moon people, there's no mole people from the center of the core of the earth. We're all Earthlings here. Oh, and that's
maybe.
I must put my name on this.
Aliens are not.
Yeah. This must be
aliens
Turkish
are
Cyprus.
never going to reveal themselves to us. So
this must be Greece Cyprus. Why can't it just be Cyprus, and then it's just two cultures who are intermingling, Turkish and Greece people living on Cyprus. The end. Turkey's invasion came in the immediate aftermath of a coup staged by Athens' junta-backed supporters of uniting Cyprus with Greece. Currently, only Turkey recognizes the Turkish Cypriot Declaration of Independence and maintains 35,000 troops in the north. Did anyone ask what Cyprus wanted? Or, were the people in Cyprus, the Greek Cyprus, and they were like, we want to be part of Greece again? I'm very confused about it. It's like Belgium, right? Belgium is half Dutch, half French, technically, right? But for some reason, they never joined. They never separated. They just keep on staying both Dutch and French Belgium and their own thing, right? Cyprus can just be that. And then you make trade deals with them to get those hydrocarbons. Oh no, we have to make trade deals instead of just stealing it from them. No! Anyways, Erdogan's renewed support for a two-state deal came just days after Tatar, the island's Greek Cypriot president, Nikos Christodoulidis, the foreign minister of the guarantor powers, Greece and Turkey, and Britain's Minister of State for Europe gathered at the UN headquarters in New York for meetings with the UN, Secretary General Antonio Guterres, and an 8-year moratorium on the formal peace negotiations. The meeting achieved little in the way of return to the pledge negotiations as Qatar insisted on recognition for the breakaway Turkish Cypriot state as a prerequisite. The meeting did, however, achieve some progress on a number of confidence-building measures, such as the exchange of cultural artifacts and the setting up of an advisory committee on civil society. Guterres said he'll meet with Tatar and Christodoulidis in September and hold another wider meeting after a Turkish Cypriot leadership election in October, in which Tatar is running on a two-state platform. Turkey and the Turkish Cypriots insist on a two-state deal is the only way forward because decades of UN-mediated peace talks based on UN Security Council endorsed framework of reunifying Cyprus as a federation no longer had any meaning. Of course, you're saying that. At least what this article is painting, which, AP News is completely unbiased, but they're painting this idea that Turkey wants Cyprus because they have hydrocarbons. So of course Turkey is going to say we see no option but for them to be part of our country. That's the only option for us. Them uniting as a separate federation, not possible because it doesn't include us getting their hydrocarbons in the deal. That's what they're gonna. Of course, they're saying that. It's redundancy. It's just all redundancy, right? Turkey is like, you don't want them to be a federation. Boo! The switch came after the last big push for peace accord in the summer of 2016. It fell through on what Greek Cypriots say was Turkish and Turkish Cypriot insistence on keeping permanent Turkish troop presence on the island and enshrining military intervention rights for Turkey as part of any deal. Greek Cypriots also rejected any demand for blanket veto power for the minority Turkish Cypriots on all government decisions. The problem is, as long as they keep calling each other Greek Cypriots and Turkish Cypriots, it's just never going to be solved. As long as you're still drawing lines and othering each other, over there, you want veto power. What about you give everyone blanket veto powers, and then you're both even, right? Is that the idea here? Do the Greek Cypriots already have veto power and they don't want to give it to Turkey? So they're like, no, you guys can have veto power too. That means you can decide stuff democratically. I don't know. I don't know the whole history of this issue. Sorry. In the south, where Greek Cypriots commemorated the invasion with solemn memorials to the war dead, Christodoulidis said the international community gives no support to a two-state deal. I agree. It doesn't work. But what are you supposed to do? Turn everyone into Greek? It's a Greek country now, or it's a Turkish country now? What about it's its own country? Too hard.
What about independence?
He said Turkey's continuing occupation.
Right?
Yeah. Completely.
It's kind of like Madagascar getting independence, It's just like, we got too much shoreline, not enough people. Right?
Whatever. If it wants to be a 50 people country, let them. I don't care. He said Turkey's continued occupation of European territory subverts its ambitions for closer European Union ties and undermines the role it wishes to play in the region. Which is, I guess, for these hydrocarbons. That's what they want. That's what they want to get. That's my story.
All right. Well, my non sequitur would be, geez, Cyprus has always been like this, right? One of these surrounded by other people. They're just using it as a transfer station. And it's a big gathering spot for refugees. It always has been. People that are just, oh my God, our country's shitty. Let's set ourselves adrift and end up in Cyprus, where we end up in a kind of a refugee
I believe
camp.
we talked about this before, but I think Greece was using Cyprus as like a overflow area.
Oh, that's where all of Israel was after World War II. Like all of Israel, before they were in Israel, they were in Cyprus, being in a freaking, big old, the concentration camp they left in Germany, or Poland or whatever, and they just got transferred to one in Cyprus and going, hey, can we have, and they started a country in Israel. So that's kind of the history of Cyprus. Non sequitur.
Modern history, at least. Right. The ancient history is all over the place.
I think due to its location, it's just always going to be either a transferred type property between countries, because they're just like, how do we defend this place? We don't have a whole lot, right? It's just out there by itself.
Yeah, I quickly looked up a little side story that was attached to this story at the end, and the EU is trying to get this to work as a federation because from their point of view, right? Both Greece is already in the EU, but Turkey also originally wanted to be in the EU, and Cyprus definitely wants to be EU. And if they all enter the EU, then they're going to be a federation anyways. That's kind of what the EU is. It's a loose federation, more of an economic federation than a political one. But if they did that, problem solved. You get the hydrocarbons anyways, because you're all in a shared economy,
Hydrocarbons. Like, hey, we need the hydrocarbons for what now? I don't understand. Hydrocarbons been banned.
Everything is run by money. All governments are run like corporations now. So all presidents are CEOs of the corporate that is Turkey and Greece and Cyprus.
Hydrocarbons are being used for batteries. What are they being used for? I don't understand that.
Yeah, I don't know either. AP News just mentioned it offhand, so I'm not gonna. I have no clue.
Hydrocarbons were banned in the world in air conditioning and in cans, like spray cans, a long time ago because they're eating up the ozone layer. So I'm just confused about the hydrocarbon thing. Anyway, let's do some more news.
All right, let's look up our next segue here, our roll to shore.
Floral hydrocarbons are banned. I stand corrected. Sorry.
Yeah, I wanted to say that, but simple. I didn't want to correct you. But it did take 2 years of environmental science.
Okay, I gotcha. I stand
Our
corrected.
next segue is... I'm waiting for it to tell me. Alliteration headline. Did you give me a
alliteration
segue?
Headline? Okay. Alliteration headline, here goes. Flash floods in New Jersey. We reported this last week, and it hasn't stopped raining. Yeah. This was updated yesterday. Heavy rain brought flash floods to 2 New Jersey counties yesterday. As much as 5 inches of rain fell early morning storms. Flash flood waters covered streets beginning at 5 a.m. and 6 a.m. in Seagirt. Seagirt is the name of the town. Words. Seagirt. A majority of the flooding occurred at First Avenue between Brooklyn and Philadelphia Boulevard, resulting in First Avenue being closed for several hours. Seagirt Police Lieutenant Matthew Mason stated in an email on Sunday. There were no rescues involved. There's just a significant amount of water that had nowhere to go. Well, eventually ends up in the ocean. The Seagirt Department of Public Works, with assistance from the Spring Lake Public Works, is able to clear a clogged stormwater pipe and then reopen by noon on Sunday. The early morning thunderstorm caused flooding and road closure of east side of Seagirt. I keep saying Seagirt. From approximately Beacon Boulevard to south of Crescent, between Ocean Front and just 2 west of 2nd Avenue. So major flooding in New Jersey. This is of course, I didn't give you the byline. It's NewJersey.com, Stephanie Loader. Let's get back there. Flash flood warning is effective until 9:15 a.m. Sunday for southeastern Monmouth and northeastern Ocean counties, according to the statement issued by National Weather Service in Mount Holly. New Jersey Department of Transportation reported flooding had closed Route 35 north of Route 71 in Belmar, according to the National Weather Service. Some locations may experience flash flooding to include, well, here's a big list of towns. And if you probably already know about this, if you live in this, Toms River, Lakewood, Jackson, Howell, Tinton Falls, Manasquan, Point Pleasant Beach, Lakehurst, Farmingdale, Mantoloking, Ramtown, and Allenwood. Some of the areas experiencing the most rainfall include Wall Township with 5 inches of rain, 5.3, and between 5 and 24 and 6:49. That's 5 inches in about an hour and a half. And Manasquan with 4.2 inches between 5:09 and 6:39 a.m. The National Weather Service reported other areas saw over 3 inches of rain. So flash floods continue in the United States, as this has been the rainiest, flash floodiest month in the history of the United States. More flash floods recorded this month, and it isn't even over yet. It's only 21st. We still got 10 days left.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Oh, do you have a headline for that, or should I move on to?
I've got
a
double alliteration headline. Notorious Night of Nature's nagging. Flash floods flooded farms. Forged fearsome fury.
Nice. Oh wait, we need to have
even a triple.
We get to do that.
Oh baby, a triple.
Man, that was really nice. You need your homework on that one. Okay, there you go. You get a air horn and a woohoo. And other stories involving water, we're going to go back to India. Well, actually, China and India. This is BBC.com again. Tessa Wong. China starts building world's largest dam, fueling fears in India. Yeah, they're going to steal our water. The dam is situated in Yorlong Sangpo Canyon, said to be the world's largest and deepest canyon on land. Chinese authorities have begun construction of what will be the world's largest hydropower dam in the Tibetan territory, which they actually don't own. They've occupied and refused to give it up, in a project that has sparked concerns from India and Bangladesh. Chinese Premier Li Qiang presided over a ceremony marking the start of construction of the Yarlong Sangpo River on Saturday, according to local media. The river flows through the Tibetan plateau. The project has attracted criticism from its potential impact on millions of Indians and the Bangladeshis living downriver, as well as surrounding environment and local Tibetans. Beijing says the scheme, costing an estimated 1.2 trillion won, or $167 billion, or 127 billion pounds sterling. We're giving it to you in every currency. Let's do it in euros. Anyway, sorry. We'll prioritize the ecological protection and boost local prosperity. When completed, the project, also known as the Motwo hydropower station, will overtake the Three Gorges Dam as the world's largest and could generate 3 times more energy. Experts and officials have flagged concerns that the new dam would empower China to control or divert transborder Yarlong Sangpo, which flows south into India's Arunachal Pradesh and Assam states, as well as Bangladesh, where it feeds into the Siang, Brahmaputra, and Jamuna rivers. A 2020 report established by the Lowy Institute, an Australian-based think tank, noted that control over these rivers in the Tibetan plateau effectively gives China a chokehold on India's economy. Yeah, maybe India can just bomb it, start a war with China. Let's go. Let's get that war going. Come on, India. Where's your initiative? And in India, with the news agency PTI earlier this month, Arunachal Pradesh Chief Minister of Pema Khandu expressed concern that the Siang and Brahmaputra could dry up considerably once the dam was completed. He added that the dam was going to cause an existential threat to our tribes and our livelihood. It's quite serious because China could even use this as a sort of water bomb. Suppose the dam is built and they suddenly release water, our entire Siang belt would be destroyed. In particular, the Adi tribe and the similar groups would see all their property, land, and especially human life suffer devastating effects. In January, a spokesperson for India's Ministry of External Affairs said they expressed concerns to China about the impact of mega dams and had urged Beijing to ensure the interests of downstream states were not harmed. They had also emphasized the need of transparency and consultation with downstream countries. India plans to build a hydropower dam in the Siang River, which would act as a buffer against sudden water release from China's dam to prevent flooding in their areas. China's foreign ministry has previously responded to India, saying that 2020 that China has a legitimate right to dam the river and has considered downstream impacts. Yeah, we considered them all right. And then we said, we're done considering them.
Doesn't affect our country. What do I care?
Yeah, we totally considered it. And we're going to go ahead with it anyway. Bangladesh also expressed concerns with China about the project, with official in February sending a letter to Beijing requesting information from the dam. Chinese authorities have long eyed the hydropower potential of the dam's location in the Tibet Autonomous Region. If it's autonomous, how do you get to build a dam there? It's in a massive canyon that is said to be the world's deepest and longest on land, along a section of the Yarlong Tsangpo, Tibet's longest river, which makes a sharp U-turn around the Namcha Barwa mountain. In the process of making its turn, which has been termed the Great Bend, the river drops hundreds of meters in elevation. Early reports indicated that authorities plan to drill multiple 20-kilometer-long tunnels through the Namcha Barwa mountain, which they would divert part of the river. Over the weekend, a Xinhua report on Li Kwang, how do you spell it? Li Kwang's visit, I guess we'll say it that way, said that the engineers conducted straightening work and divert water tunnels with built-in 5 cascading powers. What that? Li
Is it a Q?
Li Zhang, I think it's called.
Okay.
Yeah, Li Zhang. Xinhua also reported that
it's like shh. It's like shh. She.
Xinhua reported that the hyperpowered electricity would mainly transfer out of the region, be used elsewhere while accommodating Tibet's needs. Tibet needs more power.
You need to learn both Hindi and Mandarin, it sounds like, and then you'll be able to cover this story.
Yeah, one of these days. There are also environmental concerns over the flooding of Tibetan valleys, renowned for their biodiversity and the possible dangers building dams in a region rife with earthquake fault lines. Yeah, so China doing something really stupid, selfish, and greedy. Don't confuse China with not being totalitarian dictators. They are. They don't give a shit about your rights or anybody's rights. So that's who they are. And where's your alliteration headline? Let me get the...
My alliteration headline is... I wrote it down somewhere. Here it is. China's colossal construction curtails currents, crafting a contentious cascade that confines.
Jesus.
And also...
15?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9.
Oh, okay.
Not 15.
Oh,
the other one was not 15 either. But I do want to point out that the reason Bangladesh really cares about this is that they're a delta, which means that they have a ton of river. They're just a giant watershed. All of their entire country is just in the water. It's actually a reverse the Netherlands in a way. Instead of the North, because the North Sea kind of floods into the Netherlands, and then there it's the Indian Ocean and the lake, the rivers flooding into Bangladesh.
Yep. And
without that water, they're probably going to dry out. Because they have very, very, very rich and fertile land. I know somebody did like a kind of hypothetical question of like, if the world was ending and climate change, burns the entire earth, where's the safest place to live? And it would be Bangladesh. Well, if this dam gets built, it won't be Bangladesh anymore because it'll be dried out from this dam.
Yeah, Bangladesh is a very poor country too. And so... They ain't gonna. Their Air Force obviously can't even get their planes off the ground. So I'm just saying. All right. All right, so there's
For a segue.
more news totally surrounding India today. We're totally over-reporting the India area
Somebody's bullying India, and it's you. You're bullying them.
China is. All right.
World reminds me of a song again.
Mispronunciation. Reminds me of a song. That's fine. I'll do it again.
Okay.
Go ahead.
And my culture story.
Check out that. I sent you a video, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
My culture story is. Let me pause this video so it doesn't play in the background. My culture story is about Babe, everyone's favorite movie about a pig, the talking pig. At least I think it's everyone. I don't know if there's I guess there's Peppa Pig also has a talking pig. But Babe is the original talking pig, and this is an interview with James Cromwell, who played the farmer, the person who purchases the pig and then lets the pig become a shepherd pig. If you don't know the entire plot of the story, please watch Babe. It's a great movie. But this interview is by Simon Bland. I broke for lunch before everybody else, and all the animals I had been working with were on the table, cut up, cased, and roasted and seared. James Cromwell played Farmer Hoggett. Chris Noonan, the director, had been in battle with producer George Miller, who wanted an all-Australian cast for Babe. Thankfully, a wonderful casting director believed Cromwell was the right choice for Farmer Hoggett and pushed him to get a meeting. George had found the book that the film is based on, The Sheep Pig, by British author Dick King-Smith, while on a trip to Europe with his daughter. I thought Farmer Hoggett was from Yorkshire, but the studio said, no, movies with accents don't make money. Of course, Schindler's List won the Best Picture Oscar that year, and it was filled with accents. They wanted me to keep an American accent, so I thought I'd blow smoke up their ass and spend the whole day using this Texas shit-kicker accent. In that end, I had to re-record all those lines using the British accent I ultimately went with. During my makeup test, George was standing nearby. As he walked past, he said, those are the sideburns. I don't know what got into me. I just said, no, I like them. George went, who the fuck is he? And walked off. I was very pleased with my Australian. You don't tell an Australian to do anything. Australians definitely do not lie over on their back, and for the most part. We had an animatronic sheep in the middle of a real sheep, which doesn't stick out. The crew used to bet on which one of the flock was fake. At the end of the take, you'd see the real sheep continue to look around, and the animatronic one power down. Then hear a crew member say, I got it! On the second day of filming, I broke for lunch before everyone else. All the animals I'd worked with that morning were on the table, cut up. Fricasseed? I don't know that word. Fricasseed. Fricassed. Must be French, because I don't know how to pronounce it. Roasted and seared. That was when I decided to become a vegan. The final scene, where the sheep follow Babe, was a miracle. The woman who worked with the sheep spent 5 months trying to get them to walk 3 abreast in a row and follow the pig around the circuit. She was working with them until we shot. I said, away to me, pig, and those sheep move through the circuit without a pause. They get close behind them. The crowd, 200 extras who'd gathered from the local town, went berserk. So you're saying that ending scene where the crowd cheers was like an actual real, like, oh my god, they actually did it in real life. It wasn't just like a setup. Wow, that's amazing. Cool. That's a fun fact to learn. Wow. I asked Chris how he wanted me to deliver my final line. He said, right down the lens. I didn't expect what happened. Reflected back at me in the camera lens, I saw not me, but my father. On that thought, I laid the line, "Thou'll do, pig. Thou'll do." At the time, I hadn't forgiven my father, who was a director and very critical of my work. Oh, that must have been awful. I'm an actor. My dad's a director. And the whole time, he's like, don't you think you could deliver that line a little better? I didn't like how you did that.
Right?
You weren't there, Dad. The director I worked for liked it. So, it's art. It's art.
Yeah. Directors should never tell actors how to act. That is not their job. Anyway, go ahead.
Which stung. I didn't know I had to forgive him, but at that moment I looked at myself and saw I am my father's son and I love him. Without a doubt, it brought closure.
Oh.
The only negative thing I've ever heard about Babe was from a woman who said it ruined her relationship with her daughter. They used to enjoy Big Macs together, and now her daughter wouldn't eat animals, and I thought, that's what you're based your relationship on. It sucks anyways. I used to love my dad, but then we stopped eating burgers together, and now we hate each other. Wow, that was easy. That was an easy relationship to end. Neil Scanlon, the special effect artist, said, what set Babe apart was that it featured realistic animals and not fantasy characters. The goal was to intercut puppets with real-life animals. To have a convincing animatronic Babe, they had to fit a prosthetic band around the puppet's neck every day and punch in the hairs one at a time with a needle. Start early in the morning. They couldn't afford more than one prosthetic head. So to go from a standing pig to a sitting pig, they had to take off the head, put it on a new puppet body, and then punch all the hairs again to make it blend. If anything went wrong, they'd have to start the entire process all over again. It was terrifying. Up until that point, they had to use foam latex for puppets. It's a wonderful elastic, but has no skin-like qualities. They had a chemist working with them, took the challenge of making skin-like silicone for Babe. He added lots of oil and extra hardener. It set solid but remained flexible. When they'd lay it on paper, it would leach oil. It was a kind of mad chemistry. People who supply silicone skin to the industry use it to this day. Wow, so because of Babe the Pig, they were able to invent skin-like silicone for makeup artists. That's really...
That's cray-cray.
Babe's eye were plastic spheres with a plunger inside that moved back and forth. They had a round silicone ball in front of them. Painted an iris on the ball and filled the spheres with clear silicone gel. By pushing the plunger, you could make the pupils bigger or smaller to create her big brown eyes. Oh, that's so cool. I can't believe this. This is amazing. All the cool things they did to do this puppeteering. Dad the duck was a combination of fur and feathers. They had tried using only feathers, but they couldn't lay them individually and make them move. When they watched the scenes with Ferdy and Babe in the shed, they struggled to know what animatronic and what is real. They shot in Australia and the heat was phenomenal. Silicone is a great insulator, so it was like an oven inside any of the animatronics. After they rehearsed, they'd cover Babe in a blanket and keep their fingers crossed that nothing overheated. Close-up of animatronic dogs were a degree beyond what they were capable of. The work everybody did was outstanding, but there was so much going on under that fur. They failed. They're impossible. In the end, all dog close-ups were digitally enhanced. I would have thought they could have just trained a dog. Because for me, border collies are pretty smart. So I feel like you could have trained a dog to do some of that stuff. But maybe they just really wanted it to be... I mean, they still had to digitally enhance it, so in the end, I guess it doesn't matter. They probably would have had to digitally enhance a normal dog, too.
Sure.
James had moments of holding Babe in his lap, and there were never a feeling of ridicule. He engaged with the puppets. It was remarkable and rewarding to see him reach that level of interaction with something so dependent on your contribution. He did as much as humanly possible, and the makeup artists were very proud of everything he was involved in. There's your short and sweet, I think it was pretty short and sweet, little interviews about Babe. I don't know why we're talking about it, but I'm glad we're talking about it. Maybe it's like maybe it's the anniversary
or something.
Yeah, when did Babe come out?
Probably.
Maybe when did the book come out?
20 years ago.
Babe was a pop band. No, not the pop band. The film. The film came out in... No, it came out in August in 95. So I guess it would be a...
30 years ago.
Anniversary?
30 years ago.
30 years ago. Oh, I can't believe that the movie is as old as me. I watched it probably 6 or 7 years after it came out, I guess. We had it on VHS. I still remember this picture that was on the VHS, right? When the original book came out, the original book came out in 1980s.
I imagine you probably saw it when it first came out.
When I was 2?
You just don't remember it. No, you just don't
remember
it.
When I was 1 or 2? Yeah, that doesn't count if you don't remember it, in my opinion. Once the VCR rental tape came out. Oh, okay, so
I bet you.
The VCR release. It doesn't tell me when the VCR was released. It just says when the film came out.
Rule of thumb is 6 months later, unless it was probably released in Australia first, right? Then released in the United States, and then it went to video.
I think it was made by Universal Pictures, so I think it was probably came out in theaters everywhere, internationally.
Man, That
It was
depends.
released in December
They have different
in
ways.
Australia. It was released in the United States first, in August.
Oh, okay. I wonder why that.
I think.
why
Well,
that
I
is.
think.
All right.
Like,
Anyway,
as
there's my
an
reminds me
interview
of-
said, right, the director wanted it all to be an American. So the movie was
Right.
definitely like made for an American audience because movies with accents don't get views or whatever the fuck he said. You know.
movie. Yeah, before my reminds me of a song. It's non sequitur. What movie do you remember James Cromwell from?
Babe.
No, you remember him from L.A. Confidential. He was the crooked lieutenant.
Was he?
Remember?
Oh my god,
He
I
was-
had no idea.
Yeah,
Because he's so much older in
What was
the
that thing?
movie that I forget what. Yeah.
yeah. What was that name they called him? Sarasi, or whatever the hell that made up name was. Yeah, he was that guy. Anyway, yeah, he's
Okay.
the bad guy in L.A. Confidential, and
I
he's
can't
the good
believe
guy in
it.
Babe.
Oh wow, I didn't
Like,
even realize.
Within months, really. I think those movies are made within months of each other, right? I think L.A. Confidential was made in 96, maybe. 96, 97. We can
He
look that
also
up
played.
later.
He also played
but my-
Prince Philip in The Queen, the Helen Mirren.
Oh, yeah.
Queen,
He's a
the
great
Queen, yeah.
actor.
Played a lot of things.
Not related to Oliver Cromwell. I looked it up. So at least we don't know if he is. All right. So my reminds me of a song is "Pigs on the Wing" by Pink Floyd. Unfortunately, in all songs about pigs are
And all those
portrayed in a
all those
negative
stories
light.
about planes, and you just combined it together. Pigs on a wing.
Yeah, Pigs on the Wing. I got Pigs on the Wing. I got the Piggies by George Harrison and the Beatles. All right, kind of done. Just
Can
pigs,
you
three
see
different
the
ones by
little
Pink Floyd.
piggies playing in the park, or whatever he said?
Crawling in the dirt. And for all the little piggies, life is getting worse. Always having dirt to play around in.
Do, do,
There's
do,
my
do,
song,
do. It
another
does sound like a
Excellency
nursery
song,
song for children, doesn't it?
Exactly. Great, right? That's one of the best songs on the White Album. All right, spin the wheel. We'll do this day in history. Try to get through it.
Got
Close
13
all my
minutes
other
for our next
windows.
ad break, so we gotta get through it.
July
Bless
1st.
you.
I don't know if we'll make it, but we'll try.
Bad pun.
On this day, all right. Do you remember this day in 1613, so 412 years ago, Michael Romanov was crowned Tsar of Russia, founding the Romanov dynasty. Oh boy, Russia. Yeah, 400 years of that. Woof. No, wait, 300 years, sorry.
And you know how it
300 years
ended? With all of their deaths, because they were terrible.
They tried to 1902 or 1903 said, we're going to give freedoms to everybody, yay! And then they never delivered. And then
And people were so
generation later, the
poor.
Bolsheviks,
All the farmers were
the
starving.
Bolsheviks said, yeah. Again, if you're rich and you're an empire, don't try to starve your own people.
They don't
will
like
hate
it.
you forever. Yeah. 1774, the Treaty of Kuchuk-Kainarka was signed by the conclusion of the Russo-Turkish War. 1768. 1774, all right. Can't read numbers for some reason now. 1861, the first Battle of Bull Run, called the First Manassas by the South, was fought during the American Civil War, one of the dumbest battles in the history of the world, because a bunch of stupid people went there and set up their picnic blankets and their picnic baskets, and they said, "Oh, let's watch a war. This is like a sporting event." And then they just watched people get blown to bits and said, "Holy shit, this ain't really fun, is it?"
No, it's not. War
Yeah.
isn't fun, but it's good because we learned that war isn't fun and that we shouldn't have it.
Yeah, and Americans. Yeah, and we haven't learned anything from that, apparently, because we still haven't them. 1925, the trial of high school teacher John T. Scopes ended with his conviction in Tennessee. Good old Tennessee. Trying to keep people ignorant. He had taught Charles Darwin's theory of evolution in violation of state law. Of course, the theory of evolution is fact. You can call it theory all you want. It's fact. If it wasn't fact, we wouldn't have to keep coming up
Well,
with a
you
new
can't
flu
do that
vaccine.
because that's not how science works. But I know what you're saying. I know where you're coming from.
It's fact. It's been
It's not.
proven
They've already found
a million
things
times.
wrong about it that they thought were theories and that they were incorrect.
We know how mutations work, and we know how adaptations work. The theory of evolution is fact. I don't care what the hell people want to say about it.
Well, it's not people, it's actual scientists.
Oh, crap. Yeah.
How science works is you look to prove it wrong, and they prove some of his theories wrong. That's all I'm saying. Not the whole thing, just some of the theories are incorrect.
Natural selection exists, and it's a fact. It's just
No, it isn't. I'm sorry. You need to read some more scientific journals.
It's a fact. Natural selection is a fact.
Okay.
Now, prove me wrong. Prove it wrong.
I don't have to prove you wrong. The scientists have already proved it wrong.
Two ducks are born. One has webbed feet and one doesn't have webbed feet. Which one's going to have children? Not the one with the mutation that's not going to be repeatable, because as soon as that duck tries to swim, it's going to drown. And it's never going to have children. So that's what natural selection is. And it happens all the time. Sometimes there's mutations that happen that are beneficial, right? And so they get to repeat themselves because they increase your survivability. But again, all the years and years and years and years in evidence will never convince some people. So they just go and believe that some invisible man does all this stuff. Whatever. That's much more provable, right? 1954, the Geneva Accords effectively divided Vietnam at the 17th parallel. Well, that really solved all their problems for history of all time. 1960, politician Cyril Mabo Bandaranaike became the world's first woman prime minister when she took office in Ceylon, which is now called Sri Lanka. She looks very serious, like she's about to hit somebody. Boy. I mean, the look on her face in this picture. 1961, Virgil Gus Grissom became the second American to enter space during the Project Mercury. Gus didn't live a whole lot longer. He died on the launch pad, along with two other astronauts. They got burned up inside the space capsule a couple of years later. 1967, John Luthuli, president of the African National Congress and the first African to be awarded a Nobel Prize for Peace, died reportedly after being struck by a train, although the narrative has been challenged. Well, imagine that. Apartheid claimed that he got killed by a train. He just happened to walk in front of a train. Hey, I think it's a nice day to walk in front of a train. Yeah, I'm sure it was an accident.
And Putin's not throwing people out of buildings. All accidents.
That's right. Yeah. Let's conclude that he was murdered by the South African government, because that's probably what happened. 1983, the world's lowest. A guy just walks in front of a train. Sorry. It's 1967. I can say whatever I want to. The people that killed him are probably dead too. 1983, the world's lowest recorded temperature, negative 128 degrees Fahrenheit, or negative 89.2 Celsius, was measured at Bumstock Station, Antarctica. I'm not sure why, that's useful, but hey, it's really cold. 1987, it's basically what happens when there's absolutely no heat at all, I guess, because negative 128 Fahrenheit, there's no way you can survive that. 1987, American heavy metal band Guns N' Roses released the landmark album Appetite, which sold more than 17 million copies. Guns N' Roses is not a heavy metal band. I don't know why they're calling them that. 2007, Harry Potter and Deathly Hallows, the final book of J.K. Rowling and Harry Potter series, was released. Yay! She just sat back and said, well, I'm rich now. I can make sure my opinion is more important than
and I can
else.
help other people hate people, and we can just hate people together. Yay!
And let's help out Britannica and let them know that Guns N' Roses is not heavy metal. Metallica is heavy metal. Guns N' Roses is more like pop metal.
It was like hair metal, really, after hair metal already fell off. They didn't get the memo,
No, there was a depth. In fact, yeah, Guns N' Roses started out as the glam pop Motley Crue type band, and then they got a hit, and then oh shit, everybody's going to the grunge look, and then they changed their look. So yeah, they were kind of all bands did this, by the way. Alice in Chains went from being we're going to be heavy metal to we're going to be grunge, so everybody does this. 2011, the U.S. Space Shuttle program ended after 135 missions as the orbiter Atlantis landed at NASA's JFK Space Center in Cape Canaveral, Florida. 2024, Joe Biden withdrew from the presidential race. I don't know why he did that. It served no purpose whatsoever, but it made a lot of morons happy that they had to scramble. And of course, it was like 10 days after the staged fake assassination attempt on Trump, which I can't believe anybody thinks that was real. My knowledge of Secret Service lets me know that ain't real at all. So I'll write about it someday. I'll probably write about it soon. This day in history also featured event is Napoleon 1798. Napoleon's in history a lot. Napoleon's army of Egypt used a new military tactic, the massive divisional square, to defeat the Egyptian forces of Murad Bey. And this day in 1798, the Battle of Pyramids during Napoleon's Egyptian campaign. Napoleon wasn't an idiot. He knew how to win. Our feature biography, Ernest Hemingway. Ernest Hemingway, born July 21st in 1899 in Oak Park, Illinois. Happy birthday. You would be 126 if he didn't actually shoot himself on July 2nd, 1961 in Ketchum, Idaho. So, I don't know why at age 61 he thought it was time to go, but that's what he did. Sorry, man. I don't understand any of these people. Other featured featured birthdays today. We did Hemingway, Marshall McLuhan, Canadian director, Norman Jewison, Canadian director and producer. McLuhan was born in 1911, Jewison born in 1926. Happy birthday to Janet Reno. She was born in 1938. She would be 77. And happy birthday to Robin Williams. Robin Williams would be celebrating his 74th birthday today, but he's not around, so let's celebrate it for him. Other national days today, as we forget how to scroll, National Get Out of the Doghouse Day, which I guess implies that you're...
Did you forget to give your wife her anniversary flowers? Did your boyfriend not appreciate you? I don't know. Another generic thing, taking the PS5, taking the PS5 away. Get out of the doghouse today.
Came home last night about quarter to 10 or something. That lady of mine wouldn't let me in, so move it on over. And that's a song about sleeping in the doghouse. Anyway, National Be Someone Day.
You stayed out too late at the bar. I think that's that story. You stayed up too late, drinking.
Exactly.
And he's like, oh, you don't want to be home when I go to bed? That's fine. You can sleep in the doghouse.
Man, I should make that a musical. They ought to make that a musical. The Move It On Over musical. National Junk Food Day and National Lamington Day. Lamington looks like some kind of a pastry full of
it's
white
a
stuff. Looks really
British
delicious.
delight for sure. If you've never had a Lamington, try one. Try to make one.
Yep.
Just keep trying.
Yeah, and have the insulin on standby for when you go into epileptic shock.
Very, very fluffy white cake covered in coconut and a chocolate kind of...
Anaphylactic shock. What did I say? Epileptic. Anaphylactic shock, or whatever it's called, from eating too much sugar. And it's National Junk Food Day, which fits with that. So that's everything, your mispronunciations, your horrible plane crash news, everything for Monday, July 2025 on Before Lamington's Junk Food and just general chaos, I guess. This is...
I have my 3 puns here. I have 3 puns for 3 different things from this day in history. My first one. Did you guys know that Napoleon was super skinny? That's why they call him Napoleon Bonaparte.
Hold on.
Did you hear about the writer that became a tailor? He had to make an earnest living, the Hemingway. Why did the Lamington break up with the trifle? Couldn't handle the layers of commitment. The trifle is a bunch of layers. There's your bad puns for today. Is there any international days today? there are not. So don't have to celebrate anything internationally. So go make yourself a lamington, eat junk food. This has been Allison here from the Netherlands. Roger from the East Coast of the U.S. as we tie off another Before Coffee Mucking Fonday. See you tomorrow for Good Tuesday News Day, which we're going to share all our good news that we can find, all the positive things that make you believe humanity does belong here. And so don't forget to subscribe, follow us on Twitch, all the things, and turn those notifications on, like this video, comment, whatever, do all the things. Because every time you interact with this video, we will be pushed into the algorithm more, and then more people can discover us. Because I know a lot of people who watch us say, you guys are really fun to watch. So share us with everyone so you can share how fun we are. We're so fun. We argue with each other.
Live on the show, man. Great. These people are nuts. They're off their meds. You got to check this out. Anyway,
I never was on my meds. Let's get into our mic drop moment with Robin Williams.
Happy birthday,
Robin Williams!
What a riff master! Yeah, we just riffed, and we know it's going to be funny. He's making fun of. He's going to be saluting Al Pacino,
the gangster. Or he always plays a gangster, anyways.
Hello to my little friend.
To Al Pacino.
I know he's going to say that, right? You know he's going to say that.
The man sitting at that table there, the table that looks like the Last Supper stage by Armani. This is an award that couldn't be more deserved. Think about it. At the very beginning of Al's career, he made the following movies in a span of 5 years. Are you ready? 5 years. He made The Godfather, Serpico, Godfather 2, Dog Day Afternoon. Yes, indeed. We could have given you this award in 1975, but that'd be a little early. It would be like Macaulay Culkin getting a Gene Hirschfeld Award, not good. But Al's career has endured over 40 years.
Oh, okay.
So many great films, so many great performances. The Academy Award for Godfather 2, the Academy Award for Raging Bull. Wait a minute.
That's De Niro.
I'm out of rehab, but that's wrong. That's Robert
Which one is he again? Which guy is this? The gangster guy?
You get the downside version. That's what you have right there. And tonight is about the work. And one measure of a man's work is a number of classic movie quotes he has recorded in the history books. For example, in the movie Insomnia, Al said to my character, "You're about as mysterious to me as a block toilet is to a f***ing plumber." Thank you, Mr. Shakespeare.
He's just completely laying it out.
Also, you had
poor guy.
Hello to my little friend. A line, yes. A line heard in
How long is this? 4 minutes?
all around the world.
Okay.
Yeah, you sent me a 4-minute video, so you didn't look.
A lot of people think Scarface was a little over the top, but anybody who's ever done A Pound of Peruvian Blow knows that is a documentary.
Of course, Al Pacino famously played the cocaine guy, right? Say hello to my little friend.
Tony Montano.
Tony Montana.
Tony
We got
Montano.
Injustice for All, the present administration going, I'm out of order, you're out of order. And then, what about hoo-ha?
He's completely captivated the room.
What are you, foghorn, bloodhorn? What's that?
I was gonna say he doesn't even have a microphone, but then I realized it's on his
Not even a
lapel.
noise. It's a noise you make when you're getting a rectal exam. Hoo-ha! One of the most annoying
Some sensible
of all
woman.
time. And yet you got an Oscar for it. Forget that. But there's one quote that has echoed across all time. I want you all to do it with me. This is the one that really kind of struck a chord. I want you to do it with me. Attica! Attica! Attica!
Yeah! She joined in.
Ugly afternoon.
Playboy bunnies!
Nobody else wants to join in. Boo!
What's Attica? I don't know.
And there are a lot of guys.
I don't even know who those people are. Are they just chair warmers?
Later once the Viagra wears off.
They look like chair warmers.
Yeah,
right. Celebrities. Hugh Hefner. Saw him
We're here
there.
for you tonight, you singular special talent. We're
Yeah,
all here.
this is an old
We're
video,
all
right?
wise.
For 16 years
Some of
ago
us
when it was
stripped about
posted,
you know
anyways.
who you are.
Yeah.
I'd like to raise a glass to you, but that'd be 11 months out the window. Here we go. For this night,
He's drying out, in other words. He's 11 months sober.
I'm so happy Jamie Foxx is in the house. Yes, indeed.
Oh, no.
Drink it up. I see
Your work
some
has
people
stood
are
the test
drinking.
of time, because you've stood the test of time, and we stand with you to say congratulations on receiving the AFI Life Achievement Award. Let's
Oh,
all
now he's
raise
going to be
our
sincere,
glass
huh? No.
to Alfredo James Pacino, or as many of us know you, Al
Drink it up.
Pacino.
Drink it up. Yeah. Everyone. Oh, look at that. He's got like a rum and coke or something.
Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and notify buttons, and follow our other channels, Toxic Alley, History of Gravy, and Scratchy Old Records.